Christian STEYN from STEYN IP in the building with us, talking all things intellectual property. Christian, you'd be a perfect person to talk to because you work in terms of the law, and people look at the law and they're like, it's this solid thing. If you're a lawyer, you know the law.
Yeah.
What have you been approached with, man? Like, people must have come to you with some really weird requests because you deal with IP, intellectual property.
Yeah, intellectual property and commercial law. But you know how many times people are like, when I get pulled over by the police, what are my rights? I'm like, well, firstly, don't call me. I'm not a criminal attorney. It's like going to a heart surgeon and say, oh, I've got a brain injury. Please operate on me. It's
please
not
help
the same
me.
thing.
Yeah. My dog's hurts. Can you please help him? No, I'm not a vet. No. I'm not actually a vet. I had a similar kind of incident. I got arrested with a cannabis-related offense, and everyone jumped on and like, here's this guy, here's this lawyer. I was like, no, I need a criminal lawyer. I know your friend does. He's a labor lawyer, but this is not really going to help me very much. Now, earlier in the week, we did a bit of a segment on Texcellent, talking about cyber squatting, about this guy in Argentina who managed to purchase Google's domain name in Argentina.
Yeah.
You were taking a listen. We were going to meet up and have a chat on the show, and you suggested that we talk about domains and cyber squatting here in South Africa, which blew my mind because I didn't think this was a local problem. I thought this was overseas, an overseas problem.
No, this is actually a big problem in South Africa for the South African domains, the .za domains. So it's .co.za, .org.za, .com.za, and then the new ones, .africa, .joburg, .Cape Town, those domains.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of brands did not jump on the, brand wagon.
Yeah.
And
the brand wagon.
Protect their domains. They might have the .com and the .co.za, but when the .africa and the .joburg came out, they didn't register it. And then opportunistic cyber squatters went and registered it and tried to sell it back to them at a large inflated amount.
Yeah.
And it happens quite often. It's something that we in the firm see a lot of.
I think a good place to start would be with what exactly is a domain and how it works, because I was under the impression that a domain is just a website.
No, it's a domain. If you can think about a domain as like an address that points to a specific IP number where a website lies. So your domain would just be something easier to remember because nobody will remember 192.555. It's impossible. So you use your domain, something that people remember, and you point it to a specific website. And therein you can have multiple domains pointed to the same website or the same domain IP. And brands use this a lot, where they have their products as domain names as well as their brands and things similar to it, spellings, common ways to refer to it, all pointing to the same website to make sure your presence on Google, for instance,
is there, and you're visible in today's very, very online lifestyle. Now, what kind of value is there in a domain beyond just the web address, and what relationship do domains have with company names and trademarks? Because we've talked about trademarks on the show before, and I was quite interested to see that it actually ties across back into domains, back into websites. Back into your business.
No, it does. Like you say, especially in today's day and age, post-lockdown, everything moved online, and consumption of goods and services largely went to online base. But therefore, you need to have this online presence, and having a domain associated with that is important. But if you have a domain and a trademark and it's the same, obviously they tie into each other and they build your IP portfolio at large. And it's always good for companies to have that IP portfolio extend to your domain names. And not only have, like I mentioned previously, not only have your company name as a domain name, but have all your different products that people might associate with you as domain names pointing to your website.
Oh, because fantastic. So it's this whole web of products.
It's this bundle of domain names which people can use to find you. And that's where the value comes in. It's expansion of your IP portfolio. An IP portfolio has monetary value to your company. It increases the value of your company, and who doesn't want that?
Yeah, most definitely. Now, say for instance, I come out with Damian's foot cream, and I don't register a domain for Damian's foot cream, and it blows up. It goes global. It's a massive business, and someone cottons onto the fact that I have now not wisened up to the fact that I need to have a domain, connect all these products. So Damian's Foot Cream gets bought up by this random person, and then they come to me and they say, "Hey, you need this domain. I want 100,000% increase on the price of what the domain would cost."
Yeah.
What is my recourse there? Because obviously I didn't think of it first. This person thought of it first and connected it to my brand, but now I don't technically own that domain. Do I have any kind of recourse against that?
Yes, you do. But first, foot cream, seriously?
I don't know. It spots in my head.
The one thing you need to remember is domain registration throughout the world, with some of the domains not falling in this category, but most domains in the world is a first come, first serve. Meaning, if the domain is registered, is available, I can register it, irrespective of who I am.
Okay.
But just because it is available does not mean you should be allowed to register it. So in this case, take for instance you as Damian's Foot Cream. Yeah, Damian's Foot Cream.
Trademark pending.
Yeah. Damian's Foot Cream does not have a .co.za domain.
Yeah.
You only have a Facebook page, for instance, which a lot of companies do. Now, opportunistic cyber squatter comes. He files damiansfootcream.co.za and .com and all of those.
All while I'm busy on Facebook Marketplace.
Pushing your brand, building this massive thing. And he tries to either sell it back to you, or he opens a dummy store where people think it's you, but it's not, and he gets all the money. You do all the effort of building this brand, but people come to his domain thinking it's you.
Would that be like what, like a affiliate marketing kind of thing?
No.
Like he gets the product and he sells it under my name?
No, he just makes a copy, a duplicate product, and he sells it, but he completely infringes your name, and people don't know because he's got the domain.
What a legend, knockoff Foot Cream guy.
So that's the problem, but he would be a cyber squatter, you making use of domains without a right. You, as Damian's Foot Cream, can institute domain dispute proceedings. Now, what that is, it is in essence, a dedicated domain court, which is a lot cheaper than going to normal court.
Yeah,
because they only deal with.
They kind of expedite this process.
Yes, it's completely focused on domain disputes, and it's very quick and easy, simple to process, and you need to have prior rights. Now, those prior rights, if you have trademark right, obviously that is a very strong prior right. But if you can show significant use or show other forms of rights, meaning, listen, I'm Damian's Foot Cream, I was the original, look at my Facebook page.
Yeah, I've got posts from 5 years ago.
You can use that as prior rights. And what happens in the dispute proceedings, the domain dispute panel or the adjudicator assesses the situation and says, well, this guy is a cyber squatter.
Yeah.
He misused or he registered it without rights, transferred a domain to you as the owner, as the rightful owner, and it gets done without him needing to do, like, yes, we find against the domain dispute, in the domain dispute, find against the squatter.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need to agree to anything. If we find against him, by default, that domain gets taken away and given to you.
Oh, for sure. But
so it makes it, and then you've got your domain.
And you've got your domain back, and a whole lengthy legal battle has been avoided, and Damian's Foot Cream can happily...
And you don't need to pay him 100,000 Rand for it.
Go off into the sunset. If you feel like this is a problem with something that you might have, if you're a business owner, if you may be going through a bit of cyber squatting, would we be able to contact you guys? Is this something that you guys deal with regularly in South Africa?
Yes, our firm actually are one of the number of firms that specialize in domain disputes.
Okay.
So they can contact us, obviously, info@STEYNIP.com.
Yeah.
That's indiapapa.com.
NATO phonetic alphabet.
Yes.
Nicely done. Christian, thanks. It's always a joy to chat to you and learn a bit more about some of the scariest stuff out there, that these things do in fact happen, that these things can happen to you. Protect yourself against it. Rather take, steps against it than be on the back foot, have to go through the court proceedings and fight to get your domain name back.
No, definitely. And it's one tip I can give companies and business owners just before we go off is go and register any domain that might be related with your extended brand.
Okay.
Even if you just park it and point it to your existing website. Registering a domain is cheap. I mean, especially if you do pointing. You go to one of these registration houses,
Yeah.
and you register it in your name and you point it to your website.
Boom, done and dusted.
Done and dusted. And then you can avoid this entire dispute and cyber squatting issue.
Christian, thank you so much for your time. We will be chatting in the near future. You have a fantastic week going further.
You too.